Who's the fat old woman?
I don't see any fat old women.
So since I've been like really concentrating on my self-care,
Uh-huh.
After my post-sabbatical, I've been doing a lot of cooking, and I really like butter. And all of my clothes are tight. I think I probably gained weight.
Switch to ghee.
Like I've been doing a lot of like shopping, cooking. And so like I can.
Well, you don't look.
LBs, and I love every one of them. Every one of them.
I'm super excited to show food back here.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Can I sit with you?
Yes, I love that.
Actually, I want to sit with you, but I want to like not be that close.
Hi.
I'm sitting here. Sitting. I'm on the pole sitter. Pole sitter. She loves that.
So are these side seats reserved for like all the important people or how does that
No,
work?
you can sit over here. You're an important person.
Yes, you are.
Welcome to the side seats. That's just where I go. It's just my assigned seat for me.
No, you've got a reserved seat. I just want to sit next to a plug so that my laptop doesn't die. Any of this wall, which is
See one red.
yeah, I think I'm gonna switch to that.
Hello. Good for you. I'm
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Mom. Yes.
I haven't met you either.
Julian.
Julian? Nice to meet you as well.
My brain is working.
Work with Tom.
It sure
right?
is. It sure is.
I sure do.
Sorry.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, I don't remember.
So I go to Trader Joe's and I buy this like instant cold brew powder.
I had that. I love that stuff. I drink it like every morning.
All I
It's the
drink.
easiest thing to drink.
Yeah, you just get a little powder in some water and mix it with ice.
I told my brother I was gonna get him. I like
It's so good. Yes, I prefer iced coffee. And if you make hot coffee and then just put ice in it, then it doesn't work. But
I also
this-
like to make like my take of bean coffee. Like I get condensed milk and I just put like 4 shots of espresso and ice, and it's so good.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Hey, sweetie, how are you?
Is your brother in the office?
Yeah,
Not yet.
I stay drinking.
He sleeps in.
Especially
Well, I'm
now.
gonna kick in here and look at
Ice
something,
is
okay?
nothing.
Go for it. Always in there.
Oh, how precious.
Say hi, buddy. Oh,
Give me free gin.
come here, buddy. You're like, who are you?
Hey, Ollie.
Ollie.
Oh.
It's like so many people. So cute.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, precious dog.
Ollie, awesome. That's why I got him. I was like, I needed to like that has like curly hair.
All right.
You can go back in there now. You can go back in there. All right.
So cute. Are we gonna eat lunch?
I'm eating lunch.
I think that's awesome.
I'm so excited. It's not a sandwich. or like pizza.
I know, right? That's so cute.
Jesse, you turned us upside down again.
What did I do?
You turned us upside down.
Wait, I didn't touch anything but the volume. Nothing, just I touched the volume. That is really what I touched. I do.
Hello. Welcome.
I did. I have
I've
one in
not
our
seen the
office.
new one.
I've had a house. I'm not here to be like great.
It's for $7.50 in the last. Not ever remember. Yeah. Hello. I can't.
Your word is locked. Oh, it's laminated.
Yeah, I just edited the other one. I looked at it. Oh, I like to look at things. Oh,
Yeah.
D.
Right.
Sure.
Provide his paper.
We're a tech company.
Normally what happens is Beth comes in the back of the room for like 5 seconds, goes, I know the backs of those heads, and she runs downstairs and puts it in the training tracker online.
Can I grab my
Oh, wait,
notes
I
here?
can just any operator just comes in the training tracker. So like that way you can always move. Yeah, 2 more classes. And their GCI was 2. So we never. Right, but you know what I mean. Jake.
I love that. You're such good note taker. That's whatever. You're such a good note taker.
I was thinking we were being overpaid, now I'm like, oh, you're about it. Got it.
Because literally just said that to me, like almost those exact words the other day. Like I was just saying something dumb that I said or didn't work. And he goes, my husband's name is Buzz. It's really weird. That I said or didn't work at work. He said, there I was thinking, we don't pay you or something like that.
Yeah. You have said that Buzz and I
Oh my gosh. That's more. Same personality profile. And witty. Thank you.
there are objects that are when.
I'm gonna make you go away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Unless you want to. I want to.
I was doing real time.
Never do it.
Oh yeah, this 3 minute late group. We really are.
Who's our sponsor?
Oh, so from Super Inspector. So what's Matt Kern? She's our new Matt Kern. Yeah, we just met today too.
We don't have to start just yet. We'll wait until people file it a little bit. I just wanted to make sure.
We're
Wanna make sure there was a person.
We're really good, all three.
We've gotten to
Sorry.
the point where we know. We always say, man, it's not a great turnout, and then a few minutes later, the math is going, oh, there they are. Do what?
I think she had to run her office for the first minute, so she's listening in, and she's gonna come back.
They made this like new, what is it, like,
Really had one. Actually, no, we have Mickey out too.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a girl Mickey. That's not a boy.
for a while. That's how much
Well,
it
I
goes.
just-
Do you like it? Uh-huh. No, okay. Never mind, that.
Stare.
It's good if you wanna be like keto.
I should know.
I thought it was okay. Performance boost for my-
Uh-huh.
Oh, good. With E.
With an E.
Yeah.
Great memory, terrible people. Thomas taught me that. Great memory, terrible people.
I have a great name.
But once they get it,
I do remember.
I will
but
tell
you'll
you
have to
every
give me
detail.
one. Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody-
Dude, I know, it's here. Finally.
I'm good. Your sister said, I said, is your brother here? She said, well, that's good. You got somebody like her who's fun. You can run the office.
When it comes like,
You don't have to have.
sometimes they write things that they're here, they're not here, sometimes they write down.
I'm out of the farm number, it's some writing.
So, see who they're writing this through, like, when we put them in the train tractor, but,
It's like, Denton Farm out in South Lake, you know, which is like.
yeah, I just.
Actually, apparently.
I
don't afford this. Yeah. Especially in South Lake.
I wasn't joking about the Marvel. That's a real thing they have. Goes down to the line.
Well, T-Dub's here. Hi, T-Dub. Stephanie Taylor Whitlow, T-Dub.
Oh,
She's awesome. She's a teacher.
who is lead 310?
Who I don't know, who's led
Okay.
310,
Would be very.
PB 310.
Who are you, PB 310?
PB,
I guess it'd be Patty Bear.
Patty Bear and.
Oh,
it is, it's
well,
Patty
no,
Bear
she's
Sound.
right here. Oh, it's her audio. Oh, I see.
Okay, it's 12:05. We want to get started?
Woo-hoo.
Cool. Well, first and foremost, you're all enjoying Mexican food. That's my favorite. So let's thank our sponsor who brought that in with Super Inspector. Come on up. Tell us who you are.
Right. I was here just a few weeks ago, and I'm really excited to be back and tell you guys, looks like some new people in here that weren't here a couple weeks ago. To just kind of give you an idea of who Super Inspector is and tell a little bit of story about them. We are the most reviewed, largest inspection company in the state of Texas. We have over 3,000 five-star reviews. We offer, I'll go ahead and hand these out. What is standard in our home inspection?
You want me to pass those out? That way you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll pass you check.
Yeah, you bet. So what is standard in every single one of our home inspections is a termite report with a WDI. We also do a zip level foundation measurement. We also include a thermal imaging of the walls and the ceilings to make sure there's no hot and cold spots in the walls where they may be left out insulation or it's missing or maybe just sagging because it's a really old house. We also offer sprinkler system checks on the sprinklers just to make sure all the zones are working correctly. We can do commercial, we can do residential. We can also do new construction phase inspections, which are really important, especially I think personally in this time when they're kind of rushing to get houses up because there's such a shortage in the market. What would happen in those is they would go out and they would check the foundations before, make sure all the piping and everything is in the foundation correctly before this concrete gets poured over it and hides anything that may be wrong. Then they would go back and check to make sure all the wiring and everything has been done correctly before the sheetrock goes on. You would be surprised at the things that get shut into like stairwells and sheetrock. I've heard of people like taking that down to make a little cubby or something for their dog or for their kids or whatever, and then they find trash in there. So I think those are a great idea. We can also do sewer cam so that you, like if you have an older home, to make sure that the sewer and everything is running correctly in those. We do farm and ranch. We can do pools and spas. And basically we just want to be your one-stop shop so that you can just call one inspection company and get it all done at one time and not have to call somebody else out to do a measurement on the foundation or a termite inspection or whatever it might be. The other thing that you would have, your clients would have access to our concierge division, which would help them from anything from hiring movers to finding somebody who can paint, who, or even, we say yes to everything. We actually had a client in Montana that was moving here and had, I think it was 2 like pythons or some kind of weird snake. Yeah, like crazy. And we were like, sure, we'll find somebody. And of course we did. So we found somebody to move the snakes down here. So our motto is yes. We have a handyman division as well. So we want to be like the whole picture. We don't want to just go out and inspect it. We want to be like the whole life cycle of your client once they even get moved in. We have a termite or a pest division as well, so we can set up regular pest inspections as well and services. Does anybody have any questions for me?
There's one on the chat.
Okay.
Rebecca Douglas asked, what if you don't want all of that stuff sent to your clients because you have your own preferred vendors?
What stuff? What does she mean? I
Like the concierge and the handyman and things like that. We have in our system, in our ISN system, we can check a little box that says do not recommend these services to your client. A lot of realtors have somebody they currently work with, and that's fine. We are not here to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
We can certainly be just your inspection company. We're good with that too. I do want to address a question that I believe Patty asked the last time I was here, and that is, if we call you, are we going to get a brand new inspector? No, you are not. Our inspectors, we are actually starting our own inspector academy. Our inspectors have to go on a minimum of 100 inspections with a lead inspector before they are turned loose on their own. We also, these guys are on a group need, and there are questions all throughout the day. They'll send a picture and go, hey guys, what is this? I've never seen it before. So you get multiple eyes on something. The most recent comments that I have heard from realtors when I'm calling them to say, hey, thanks for using our services, is your reports are awesome. They're so easy to read. They're color coded. I know exactly what to, tell my buyers as to what's really important. The other thing to note is that our inspectors are very careful and cautious when they are going through that report with your buyer. They are not there to be cautionary. They are there just to state the facts. And we train them really well, and I hear really good compliments on that as well. Because we don't want to be alarming, we don't want to kill the deal. Anybody have any questions? Everybody's got a brochure. I'm also going to leave these too, 10 reasons to have a home inspection. I've heard in other markets that people are waiving inspections because of the short option periods. Do not do that. That just sets yourself up for all kinds of liability in the future. So I would highly recommend you not do that. I will also leave some of my business cards. If you guys have any questions or anything, or if I can help you in any way, please reach out anytime. We're here to help you.
Awesome.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
You
Thank
guys,
you very much. We
It
appreciate
was
it.
great to meet you.
Yeah, great to
Thank you
meet
for coming.
you too, and I appreciate y'all having me. We'll do it again.
Our
We'll
pleasure.
see you again soon.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a great afternoon.
Thank you too. Hi, everybody. Welcome to How to Grow Your Business by 240% in 12 months. That's a pretty enticing title to a class. So enticing that we decided to invite like somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 people, and 19 showed up, which is like weird, but it's actually okay. I like intimate groups because we can do, well, Jake, you remember in Ignite, we did Super Ignite. Remember that? We can do Super Ignite. We can do Super Grow Your Business by 240%. We've got small groups. So I'm really excited. Jessie criticizes me often for my introductions because she says that I'm too modest. And so I'm going to try not to be too modest today. Okay. My name is Thomas Eves. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm the lead agent of the Eves Realty Group. I'm a mega agent. I'm a member of the ALC. I run the Career Development Committee. I also run the Tech Committee. I'm a KW Young Professionals member. I'm a MAPS Mastery client. What other designations are important to people?
You're plugged in. You're just plugged in.
I'm just so plugged in. So how was that? Was that pretty good?
That was accurate and excellent.
Cool. So I have been in this fabulous business we call real estate for 8 years. And in those 8 years, I've made a crud ton of mistakes. That's a real unit of measurement, 1 metric crud ton of mistakes. Fun fact about me, I hate to watch people suffer. I can't even watch like the Saw movies, like slashers. I can't do it. I hate watching people suffer. I can't do it. I'm squeamish. my whenever I was in this business, the first few years, and when I say first few years, I mean like the first like 5 or 6 years, I suffered a lot. I suffered a lot. My goal in teaching this class and teaching all the other classes that I randomly volunteer to class and to teach, and for some reason the Market Center lets me put them on the calendar, is because I want to collapse time for you, and I don't want you to suffer like I did. Okay, so this is about ending suffering. That's my big why around teaching. So you are about to learn things over the next hour that I resisted for half a decade. Okay, not that no one told me to do it. It's that they told me to do it and I was like, I don't have any validity for that. I don't have any proof for that. My common sense tells me it's probably not true. So I resisted it and kept suffering and believing I was right. I wasn't. So the final point is the purpose of business is to fund a perfect life, right? The purpose of, so if you're in business for anything other than funding a perfect life, you're probably doing it wrong, okay? So we're looking for you to create a life by design, not by default. What does that mean? It usually means 3 things. You're looking for freedom, flexibility, and wealth, right? And what I find with real estate agents is that most of them are nailing the first 2. A lot of real estate agents are free, man, are they flexible. The wealth part is a little bit more elusive, I've found. So let's go through what happened and how I arrived at teaching this class today. It's a very interesting journey. So my coach, I have a MAPS coach. His name is Mike Vizda. Mike Vizda is awesome. I'll talk more about him in just a second. But Mike challenges me in ways that have grown my business and grown my personal life exponentially. Mike asks me great questions. That's the point of great coaches. And yet, one day I accidentally asked him a really great question. And the question that I asked him was, I said, was there a moment or was there an action in your life that suddenly caused your business and your personal life to like explode, like and grow? Like, was there a moment? Was there a thing that happened? And what he said to me was completely uninspired. What he said to me was, when my wife and I, his wife is in the business with him as well. Don't go into business with a spouse. I love that you walked out of the room right when he said, when my wife and I started disproportionately investing in coaching and training, our business flourished. And I heard him say that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I did absolutely nothing with that information. 2 weeks later, I was showering. I do that occasionally, at least on a 2-week basis. And I started thinking about it, and I realized that I had some explosive growth in my business that sort of related to that, but it wasn't actually about just coaching. So here's the aha that I had. Disproportionate investment in people equals huge growth and success. Jesse, you made a noise. Why?
It was an acceptance. I like what you're saying noise.
I love that. I love Jesse's affirmational noises.
I'm a student today.
Mm-hmm. So, I just said that. How many people in the room are hearing a subconscious voice in your head saying, yeah, I can't afford to invest? Anybody? There are liars in the room. Many of you are thinking that, I know, because I thought it. Definitely thought it. So I'm here to tell you from experience that you can't afford not to invest in people. Okay. So I'm gonna, do you guys mind, Jake, do you mind if I have a moment of vulnerability? Is that gonna make you uncomfortable? Y'all can go if you want to. Come back in about,
I've been through one of your classes. I know how this goes.
That's true, yeah, okay, good. So vulnerability, I do need to share some facts with y'all before I prove the concept that I've just introduced. So first and foremost, I resisted this really hard. I was a huge skeptic of what I'm about to talk to you about. I told myself things like, when my clients hire me, they get me. That's stupid, by the way. I'll explain why in just a second. I told myself that my systems are too special and too unique for anyone else to learn. I thought that I was like a Mensa member or something. Like, no one else is qualified to figure this out. I'm a genius, you know. I nearly lost my house, like more than a time or 2 or 3 or 4. I sold my favorite vehicle that I've ever owned so that I could make my mortgage payment. I sold a lot of things that weren't real estate in order to make ends meet. My water and electricity got turned off like at least a dozen times because I was resisting the things that I'm going to teach you today. So the reason I'm explaining this to you is like, remember I said earlier, I don't like to watch people suffer? Okay, I suffered a lot. And I know that there are a lot of real estate agents, maybe in this room, maybe on the Zoom, maybe that chose not to come, who are suffering and keeping up appearances. It's an ego thing. I get it. I do. But it's okay. I'm vulnerable and there's no ego in this. I suffered a lot, okay? And my goal is for none of you to suffer the way that I did, or at least not for as long, okay? So that's my validity in this. Because I hear myself, I hear 5 years ago Thomas sitting in the back of the classroom, rolling his eyes going, this person has no idea what I'm going through. This person, you're preaching to me from a pedestal, you're preaching to me from a tower. You don't get it. Folks, I get it. Promise I do. Promise. So now for the substance, for those of you high D personalities in the room. The first thing that I did, step 1, the first thing that I did that radically transformed my business was I hired something called a transaction coordinator. Okay? Is this earth-shattering? Have you guys just heard this information for the first time? Did you guys know what the upfront cost of a transaction coordinator is? Does anybody know? Upfront cost, transaction coordinator?
0.
It's $0. Yeah. Flower mound coming in for the win. So yeah, it's $0. So if you're sitting here going, I can't afford $0, we've got real problems. $0 is free, so it's my favorite price. So yeah, it's $0. I've never seen a transaction coordinator charge more than $450 per transaction at closing. Okay, let's do the math on that. If you were to make sell a $300,000 house, right? That's a $9,000 commission at 3%. This is 5% of that. 5%. Okay, so let me put that into perspective. There's 2 sides to a real estate business, right? Does anybody know what they are? There's two sides to a real estate business.
Buyers and sellers.
Okay, so there's admin. That was a good guess though. There's admin, and then there's real estate. Okay, what's the difference?
One's necessary functions and one is dealing with your clients.
I love that. I love the high D-ness of thinking that like dealing with the clients is not the necessary part, but like I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Totally do. So yeah, so 50% of the business is administrative functions like negotiating addendums and writing amendments and scheduling showings and dealing with the title company and dealing with the lenders and trying to figure out what time we're going to close and coordinating the keys and all of that. I can keep counting. All of that stupid garbage. Okay. And then real estate is like attracting clients and generating leads and attracting people to join your organization and marketing and networking and all that good stuff. So so this one makes a lot more money, okay, than this one does. But they're 50-50, right? So just imagine getting to keep 95% of the profits for doing this stuff that you like doing, and then spending 5% on this over here. You see how these numbers are really, really unfair? Okay, but it's cool because this is the high skilled labor over here. And yet agents labor away over here making this. Okay? So really, really important concept to comprehend. I'll prove it as we move forward here. So here's what I learned. Here was the aha I discovered through hiring a TC. Really, really successful, smart real estate agents invest in people. Okay, really unsuccessful real estate agents that think they're really cool invest in things like business cards and Facebook ads and car decals, okay? By the way, I know a lot about business cards, Facebook ads, and car decals. I'm really, really experienced with those things. Hint, nudge, wink. So that being said, so just imagine having 50% of your responsibilities taken away from you. They're taken away from you, but still grossing 95% of the profits. By the way, this is a great FSBO script for the 6%. I just wanted to just put a little tab in that. You say to the FSBO, just like, imagine a world where I can do all of the work for you in selling your house. I only keep 6% of the profits and you keep 94.
That's really good. Write that down.
Like, that's the best partnership in the world. You should sign that today. It's really good script. Works all the time. Now, okay, so I hear all of your drunk monkeys talking. So imagine that this 50% of your business is taken away from you by someone who is better at it than you are. This is where I'm really going to challenge you. So many real estate agents, particularly real estate agents of a certain age bracket, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, I do, say that I am the greatest, I'm the best transaction coordinator on the face of it. I do the best paperwork. I am so detailed. I am so thorough. I am so good at sending emails with the attachments to the title company. I just can't imagine anyone else doing it better than me. I just can't imagine it. Folks, here's the thing. We know, Jesse, we go through personality profiles on like a weekly basis. Is the personality profile of a great real estate agent anything like the personality profile of a great admin?
Rarely in my experience.
Rarely.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Usually they're completely polar, is what I've found. They're completely polar. Great admins aren't a great fit for selling real estate. People that are great at selling real estate are usually not in a qualified position to do admin work, right? So I'm going to challenge you. The person that you're hiring that's doing transaction coordination is probably better than you at it, right? And that's a really important concept for you to understand because that makes it really easy to sell it, right? My client's just like, well, you're just passing my file. It's like, no, I hired this person because they're way better than me at that part of the job. I'm an awesome marketer of real estate. I'm a great person at writing and negotiating contracts to get my buyers into houses that other people couldn't get them into. And then that's where my job ends because I know what I'm talented at. I'm really, really good at that. If you think that I'm the best person at crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's, I'm not. I hate details. I hate them. Okay? So the person that you're going to hire to do your 50% for only 5% of the profit is way better at the job than you are. They're way better than you are. Okay? So now so let's get back into the mindset. 50% of your responsibilities have just been taken away from you overnight. The first thing that's going to happen is this. You're going to think, whoa, what am I going to do with all this extra time and energy that I have? And by the way, if you think that's untrue, do you know who said that? Do you know who I got that from? Well, first of all, personal experience, but also a woman by the name of Linda McKissick. Anybody familiar with her? Okay. Yeah, Linda says this. She learned the leverage bit, and she was just like, yeah, I've got a lot of extra time. So just imagine having all this extra time. What are you going to do with that in order to further pursue your life by design? So many of you probably don't remember this, but here at Keller Williams, we talk about something called the 6 personal perspectives. Any eye rolls in the room? 6 personal perspectives? I know I rolled my eyes. There is something, I think it's the second of the 6 personal perspectives is the 80-20 rule. Anybody familiar with the 80-20 rule? There are a couple of bobbing heads. Most people they've heard the 80-20 principle and they sort of surface level intellectually or yeah, no, I get it. 20 equals 80 somehow with math. Yeah, so the 80-20 principle states that 20% of your effort gets you 80% of your results, right? So this flies in the face of our conventional wisdom, okay? We as real estate agents, we're taught that if you want more success, you just work more. Work more, get more success. We wake up every day, I don't know about you, but I get on Facebook, I get on LinkedIn, and I see things like rise and grind, hustle hard. I saw something the other day that said, why grind 9 to 5 when you can hustle 24/7? And I'm like, what the hell are you people talking about? What is grind? Grind? You guys want to grind? Y'all want to grind?
Ew.
Y'all want to hustle? The last time I heard the word hustle used in a positive way was whenever I was playing pee-wee football and my ears didn't fit in the helmet whenever I was 9. Okay, my ears didn't fit in the helmet, by the way. The coach had to pick me up by the helmet and I like shake so I fell out. That's why they do this. Y'all think I'm joking? I'm not. This happened. So do we think that maybe there's something wrong with the philosophy of work more equals more success? I know people that have worked their entire lives, the hardest workers ever, and they've got nothing, okay? And it's because they're doing something called unfocused work, right? Has anybody ever heard of a guy named Gary Keller? Gary Keller, does he look like he's grinding? Does Gary Keller look like he's a hustler? I would say, this is my opinion, I would say that Gary just looks like he's hyper-focused, purposeful, and intentional. That's what he looks like to me, and still has time to like play the guitar afterwards, right? That's what success looks like to me. So my opinion is that he's probably not hustling and grinding. By the way, this is a great commercial. Quantum Leap is coming up on August 17th. They'll go into the 80-20 principle and the 6 personal perspectives in like a mastery level. So I won't go into further detail. And I know the whole room is thinking, thank God. So back to the topic of leverage. Just imagine being able to hyper-focus on your 20% that gets you your 80% results because you're not tied up doing this 50% admin work, okay? That's the whole point, right? We can focus on what's really, really important whenever we're not worried about the stupid garbage that doesn't make us any money, okay? So, by the way, that's precisely what happened to me. I was like, yeah, what am I gonna do with all this new time? And so what I chose to focus on, what I didn't have any choice but to focus on, was something called, this will shock you, I've already write this down, lead generation. I know, I was surprised too. Yep, lead generation. Now, this isn't the ending to like a really cool story. This is like just the beginning of me hitting my new ceiling of achievement. Real estate, whenever I started figuring stuff out, I think we've all seen this before. Everyone thinks that like success in real estate is like, yeah, I figured it out. This is not what success in real estate looks like. This is what success in real estate looks like. Okay, so I hired a TC, cool. And then I started getting really tired. My energy started getting zapped because I was still not quite focused. And then I came up here and hit this new ceiling, which, by the way, I'm probably like here now. It keeps going. I just ran out of whiteboard. So someone else will have to teach this part. So what happened was I started focusing on lead generation, and I ran out of energy again. So that was kind of a problem. So I had to take it a step further. I had to really start thinking like, okay, where's my energy best used? And so the really easy way to think about where your energy is best used is 2 things. 1, what activities make me the most money? And 2, what things do I enjoy doing? Okay. So my energy was best used getting in front of clients, right? And convincing them to work with me and demonstrating the unique value proposition of myself and my business, right? That was the best use of my time. What I found is that I was spending a lot of time doing things like looking up phone numbers and email addresses and researching addresses and trying to find the most qualified leads who were the most motivated. So that was taking up a huge chunk of my time. That, by the way, sounds a lot like admin work. Sounds pretty administrative. So yet again, my brilliant coach stepped in and said, yeah, you're not exactly nailing the leverage bit. And I was like, oh God, see out here, I thought I was. So the next thing that I did was I kept a notepad on my desk, and every time I was doing something that didn't make me money, And every time I was doing something that I absolutely freaking despised with all my heart and soul, I wrote it down. I wrote it down. Every time I was doing something that I hated doing, every time I was doing something that wasn't going to make me money, I wrote it down on a piece of paper. Do you guys know what I was writing? A job description. I was writing a job description. I didn't know that at the time. I was just making a hateful, hateful, hateful list. Things that I just was not happy about doing. I was writing a job description. So I ended up hiring something called a Cyberbacker. Anybody familiar with a Cyberbacker? Yes, he is. So a Cyberbacker is it's a human, and it's an administrative assistant who works remotely for a ridiculously low amount of money. The amount of money, by the way, I'll give you the exact figure because I don't speak in unspecifics. The exact figure is $1,300 per month. Now I know what you're thinking, Thomas. $1,300 a month. I can't make my mortgage. I can't make my car payment. I'm not paying $1,300 a month. You're an idiot, folks. You're not even going to feel the desire for this type of administrative support until you're closing approximately 3 deals per month. About 3 deals a month is whenever your brain starts to feel that urge and that tug and that pull and that pressure, okay? If you're closing 3 transactions a month at the average price of $300,000, then you're making $27,000 a month, okay? $1,300 is, guess what percentage, folks? Guess what percentage? We talked about it earlier. Yet again, you get to keep 95% of the profit and you pay your administrative support 5%. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, and it's completely true. So, yeah, go ahead.
Is this Cyberbacker like a ISA from overseas?
They are totally overseas. So my ISA is from the Philippines. Her name is Jessel, and by the way, I love Jessel more than I love some of my family members. I'm gonna get emotional. I love her. She's brilliant. So let me explain some of my limiting beliefs around this. My coach, by the way, has 5 Cyberbackers. He has 5. The one that helps him with his coaching business, her name is Jean. Jean is smarter than I am. I'm not a Mensa member, but I have considered myself to be relatively intelligent. I made a decent score on the SAT. Jean is smarter than I am. Jessel is smarter than I am. I hired a Cyberbacker thinking, oh my God, there's going to be a language barrier. I'm going to have to be like, this is a computer. I literally thought, I was so ignorant. I thought that's what was going to happen. I remember I sent Jessel a training video. I was like, okay, so I sent her 4 videos. Like, here's the stuff that I need you to do. It's probably going to take you like a month to grasp it. Like, and we're going to have to go back and forth, and like, we'll eventually get there. And we got to start somewhere. 3 hours later, she was like, done. And I went, no, that would have taken me 8 hours. So there's no way you're done. There's no sweet. You're so sweet. There's no way you're done. I went and checked. I inspected what I expected. She was done. She was done. Yeah.
Did you ever talking to clients or lead generating?
You can. I don't have her speaking to clients. So her former job was actually, she worked for I think a credit card company, and she did phone, tech support. So she's awesome. She does not sound, she has an excellent American accent. She speaks perfect English. But she told me, she was like, that's not my preference. And I was like, that's great. That's not what I need you for. That's what I'm good at. So I don't, and yet you can hire a Cyberbacker to do ISA work for you, to set appointments for you, to do customer service. You can hire them for whatever you want. So I remember the day that I went to hire my Cyberbacker, they put like 64 people on my screen. It was a 5-minute call, and they were just flexing their muscle at this point. They were just like, here's the people we're interviewing for the job you described. And I was like, oh my God, this is very intimidating. Okay. So out of that 64 people, they narrowed it down to 5. And then we did rapid interviews over Zoom, very rapid, 5 minutes with each person. And then we identified the top 2 candidates, and I spent about 5 to 10 minutes with each of those, and then made my decision. I made the right decision, by the way.
Can you describe the difference in roles between a TC and an ISA?
Yeah, so a TC would be someone who handles, and by the way, this is not, a Cyberbacker is not a TC. A transaction coordinator is someone who, like, once your You've got a contract on either your listing or your buyer transaction. You take that contract and you give it to your transaction coordinator. You don't touch it until the closing. Like, you just wait for your check at that point. That's the right way.
So they
to
make
do it.
contact with the client,
Mhm.
they take
Yeah.
care of it.
Yeah, they send, so my TC sends an email, it's an awesome email, to both, it's two separate emails. One to the agent on the other side of the transaction, their transaction coordinator, title company, lender, and says, hi, I'm the point of contact for the rest of this transaction. Here's what I need from you. Sends a separate email to my client and says, oh my God, it's a more soft, lovey email. It's like, I'm so excited that you're in contract and that's great. By the way, I'm your point of contact for the rest of the transaction. Let me know what you need from you. Inevitably, your client's still gonna call you, and that's fine. Okay. Oftentimes my clients will say, hey, we saw this thing on this thing and we wanted to ask about it. And I'll say, great, let me get my TC on the phone. And I'll three-way. I was like, okay, so I just, that's how I set it up. So.
And then an ISA does what specifically?
An ISA or an inside sales agent, their job is to set appointments for you. I don't have an ISA. I've never had an ISA. You've had an ISA.
Mhm, yeah.
You've had an ISA.
Yeah.
So, and have had some success. I mean, here's the thing about the ISA is that that's not you and they're not as competent as you. And because ISA, remember the thing I had drawn on the board a second ago where I was on the real estate side? An ISA exists on the real estate side of the board, right? They're doing the skilled work. So it's more of a quantity over quality sort of thing. That person's not you. And that person.
There's some really awesome, talented ISAs that you can work with and hire. They're amazing.
Same cost though,
and,
right?
All different. Different. There are lots of big teams within KW that have 3, 4, 5, 10 dedicated ISAs. They're part of their team. That's all they do. They pound phones and for you, and they have set scripts throughout the year. Yeah. And then you can also, go more top of funnel and have someone that's like literally just repeating these words. These are the words they know. They've got 3 objection handlers, and that's it. And it's very impersonal. It sounds super telemarketing. One's more expensive, one's less expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But you can develop their skills just like I've developed Jessel's skills. I haven't developed her skills. I told her what to do, and she developed her own one. And she's incredible. Julian and I love her. We love her. Like if we could invite her to our home for Thanksgiving, we would. The Philippines is a long way away, and I don't know how travel works from that country. But yeah, go ahead.
Where do you find a cyberbacker?
Oh, you're gonna love this. It's kind of complicated. You ready?
Yeah.
Cyberbacker.com.
Really?
Yeah. Cyberbacker is a company of virtual assistants.
Okay.
I don't know if all of them are based in the Philippines, but I know most of them are. And so but by the way, the 5 candidates that they gave me to hire, or they gave me to interview, were all brilliant, super talented, very personable people. They all.
Yeah, VA business has gotten huge in Thailand, Vietnam.
Yeah, so the Philippines is going through a transition right now. They're going from an agricultural country to a technology-based country. They're sort of following in South Korea's footsteps. So I imagine that country will look very different in the next decade. But yeah, they've got a bunch of tech support people. They all speak English, and they're all like brilliant. They all are. Go ahead.
Can you give a little bit of a description as far as what your Cyberbacker does compared to, say, a regular admin position?
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, here's the easiest description, is she does everything that I don't.
I was gonna say Cyberbacker, like just depending on what you need in your business, if it's like marketing specifically or whatever it is, just tell Cyberbacker and they will find someone that has that experience or they'll train them for that. So
There's a list on their website too of all these different services, but also in the MREA office manual, I can share that with y'all. There are very specific lists of I forget, 280 jobs in real estate or tasks in real estate. Rainmaker has like this many, admin folks have that many. So
Yeah.
I can pull that up and share that.
Yeah, no,
I'll
that'd be
share it in
brilliant.
the Facebook group.
Yes, that'd be brilliant. But the way that I did it is, like I said, I made that list of everything that I hated doing or all the tasks that didn't make me money. And those were I literally gave Cyberbacker, I was like, here's my handwritten list from my desk on a title resources notepad. I don't want to do these things. And they went, okay. So that's what happened. And she does all of it. She schedules my showings for me. She manages my calendar. She mines for all the data for all of the contacts that I put into my database on a daily, weekly basis. She assists my director of operations, which I'm getting to. She does it all. She does all of it. She's awesome. Full-time. You can do them part-time too. I think that's $700 a month. That would not have worked. So, okay. So by the way, this new person that I hired, so I was doing 3 transactions a month and hating it because I was too busy doing things that weren't making me money. So I had to make a whole new list. So I hired this person. All of a sudden when I hired this person, weird thing happened. I started doing between 5 and 7 transactions a month. That almost sounds like the model, Jesse. It's weird. So I started doing 5 to 7 transactions a month. What happens whenever you have 5 to 7 transactions a month is you get to hire another admin. And I hired someone called a director of operations. Okay. That director of operations gave me the leverage to bring on a buyer's agent. Okay. By the way, that's what you need to start bringing on agents. I did this the wrong way for like 4 years. I was just like, first I'll bring on a buyer's agent, and then a second buyer's agent, and then a third buyer's agent, and then a fourth buyer's agent, and maybe at some point I'll hire an assistant. That's the wrong way to do it. You hire admin support first.
How many people did you hire before you did it right?
At least 20. I go back and count sometimes, and it's at least 20. I was the ultimate revolving door. And it was because I didn't have the admin support. If you hire agents who are really looking for you to take that 50% of the business away from them, that's why they pay a split, and then you don't take that 50% away from them, that's just a person working next to you. That's not an agent that's plugged into your organization. Okay, I did it wrong. Okay, again, I suffered. Okay, there was a time when I had a team with like 5 people on it. You're just like, wow, you're a rainmaker with 5 people on your team. You must be doing really well. Meanwhile, my water's off. I had to buy a meter key and what are those things called? Bolt cutters. So don't do it the wrong way. So but just so everyone knows, I'm able to do all of this because I hired a transaction coordinator for $0. Okay, so that is what led to that. So you're thinking like, wow, this sounds really complicated. I've got to do this, I've got to do this, and I've got to do this. It's not complicated. Stop doing that. Stop having the internal dialogue where you're going back into the back of your head and going back to your past experiences and going, wow, this is going to be too hard. No, here's your action item. Go find a transaction coordinator. It costs $0 to start up. Go find one today. Go do it today. We have resources, by the way. We have names. We have numbers. Interview. Go pick your favorite. It doesn't matter. Go do it. Let them take 50% of your job away from you. It's the best thing you can do. Go do it. Do not hesitate. If you hesitate, I'll know. So it literally started with that step. Now, if you've gotten to this point and you're thinking, okay, Thomas, I get it. Hiring admins made you successful. Okay, that would be a gross omission of a ton of other really, really important elements. Okay, so one other item that is extremely significant. There are other people, plural, other people that ignited my growth, and they are called, get ready for this, I'm ready for the eye roll, coaches. I'm just remembering 5 years ago, Thomas rolling his eyes in the back of the room. We're just like, great, you guys want me to pay for that line item too? Bunch of idiots, all of you are. So I was wrong. 5 years ago, Thomas, you're wrong. You're wrong. Because what I was thinking is the last thing I need is some Kellerized Kool-Aid drinking goofball to hold me accountable to hitting my arbitrary goals. That's what I was thinking, okay? That's what I was thinking. I was wrong. The value in a coach is not to hold you accountable. If you think that a coach is an accountability partner, you are overpaying that coach. That is not a coach's job, okay? Coach's job is to ask you exceptional questions that they may already know the answer to and let you self-discover where you're at, where you're going, how best to get there. They exist to guide you and to be a strategic business partner. I get emotional when I think about that because like my coach is actually I don't make business decisions now without talking to my coach. And it's not because he's going to talk me out of it. And it's not because he thinks he knows better than me. He's going to play devil's advocate, and he's always going to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, or that I've done my research, I've done my homework, and I'm not acting based on emotion. He always does that for me. It took me a long time. I used to have my walls up with him for a really, really long time until I realized I was like, this guy's not fighting me. He's literally just making sure I'm doing the right thing. That was brilliant. So he's well worth the money that I pay for him. By the way, So I brought on a director of operations. Remember I mentioned that? That's my third administrative hire. He's over there, by the way. So here's the thing. Who should coach your director of ops on being a director of ops? Remember, you're a real estate agent. So should it be you? So Julian has his own coach. So I have a coach. Julian has a coach. By the way, it goes further back than that. My coach has a coach. Julian's coach has a coach. All the people who are in mastery positions to give other people advice have coaches, okay? So now you might be thinking like, okay, Thomas, you're saying that I need a coach. By the way, you do. You should get a coach when you can afford one, okay? Don't get one before you can afford one. I did that. That was the wrong thing to do, okay? So I'm not telling you to go out and hire a coach. I'm not. You can get free coaching for now. It's not personalized, but you get what you pay for.
How do you quantify it when you can afford it?
Oh God, that's such a good question. There comes to a point when you get to, oh my God, that's such a good question. So thank you. So I got to a point in my business where I hit yet another ceiling of achievement, but for the first time in my business, it had nothing to do with money. It had nothing to do with money. There was money in the bank. There were 6 figures in the bank. I'm not gloating. I'm just telling you, like, for the first time in my career, there was money in the bank. And I was still like, I always thought that was good. Like, that was the cure-all. Like, I've got the money now. I'm good. Nope. I hit yet another ceiling of achievement where I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do now. And that was the tipping point for me where I was just like, okay, I can ask what, right? And I can go and read books, and I can go and try to work until 3 a.m. and create a new system and try to break it and do all that, you know, what I've done in the past. I was like, or I could do something better, which is just ask who's done it before. And so what I chose to do was ask who, not what. So, by the way, a recruiter from Maps called me out of the blue. I didn't inquire. He called me. Jesse may have put him up to me. Okay, good. I'm learning this right now. So he called me, and I told him, I was like, look, I've done Maps coaching before. It didn't work for me. I was like, if I'm going to be coached by somebody, I need 2 things, and I don't think you can find that person. And he was very cool. He was like, okay, shoot. I said, I need 2 things. Thing number 1 I need is someone with validity, right? I need someone who's done what I'm doing. Right? So there's someone who's done what I'm trying to do. Someone who built a business to X amount of agents, X amount of gross profit, X amount of whatever, and is now enjoying a life by design. Don't show me anyone who's grinding or hustling. Like, I don't need a grinder. I don't need a hustler. I need someone who is like literally laying on a beach, sipping something out of a coconut in Mexico and making 7 figures. Like, that's what I want. I need that person who is for some reason still doing coaching, okay? The second thing that I need is I need someone who values freedom as much as I do. I value freedom above all things. If you tell me I have to do something, I'm going to reject you, okay? I don't like to be tied down. If you put something on my calendar for a week from now, I'm gonna get a ton of anxiety. I was like, well, what if I don't wanna do that a week from now? I love freedom, and I hate it when people try to take it away from me. So I was like, I need the person that's gonna match those 2 things. So they found this guy named Mike Vizda. Mike Vizda, by the way, was surfing in Barbados last week. This week, he's mountain biking around something called the Finger Lakes in New York State, Upper New York State. He bought this van that he retrofitted as kind of like an RV. It's like a bachelor pad on wheels, even though he's not a bachelor. He's married to his wife, Ryan. Weird name. His wife, Ryan. I know, I had to ask questions. His wife, Ryan, who runs the business in one of the smaller states that doesn't, New Hampshire?
Sure.
One of the ones that doesn't have.
Point.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Oh.
And he's got like his dirt bike on the back of it. And so this man, with his long flowing hair, his Fabio haircut, just does that. He does that, and then one day a week he does coaching calls with people like me who want to know how to do that. So they found the guy with validity, and they found the guy that values freedom just as much, if not more than I do, who understands the value of passive income and all the other things. And so I was like, oh yeah, that's the guy I need to be in business with. And I am. That's the guy that gives me advice. Yeah.
Can I push your answer about
Please.
the cost? How do
Yes.
you know the cost threshold?
Oh, yeah.
Actually, in the red book, it does teach us in the budget model that we should be spending 10% of our GCI on training and coaching for the whole year. So, that's why like most PC programs that are set up in market centers for y'all, that the risk, the coach and the market center assumes on the front end, and they charge 10% of GCI on the back end. It's that symbiotic important relationship in coach versus coachee, and it's 10%.
How long does it take to develop those figures for the GCI?
38 years. We keep testing them. They can't break it. There's been tiny little adjustments in the budget model, as far as just with the evolution of technology.
Sure.
But it's essential. Besides that, it's the freaking same. We can't undo it. Can't unprove it.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go for
And then let me know if I'm taking us off
No,
topic
you're
here. Addressing your validity criteria. One of my limiting beliefs in getting a coach is that I think I'm in my third year. I think real estate has changed quite a bit in the last 5, 10, 15 years. And a lot of these coaches that I'm talking to haven't been in the game for a long time. And so I don't feel like they fully understand what it's like to be in the trenches for somebody in this third year, reaching that point where, I'm a capper and I'm growing, but I've got those growing pains.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
How do I find somebody like that through Keller Williams?
First of all, you don't. You don't. There's somebody at MAPS that will do that. And you tell them that exact sentence. Just be like, look, here's the thing. I'm not going to be coached by someone that doesn't have validity. Okay? I need someone who is actively running a real estate business. But so the loophole with my coach is that he and his wife run that real estate team. Really, his wife runs it, right? So he's a 50-50 partner in a real estate business that did, I don't know, 60 million in volume in a state no one cares about last year. And so he has the validity. He's got the validity now. And so that's what you tell them. You're just like, I need someone who is currently doing it, who has done it, who is familiar with the changing landscape in real estate, not some guy who like did really, really well in the 80s and 90s and is now making his money off of like coaching grouper smooches on how to like smile and dial, hustle and grind. Like you just tell them that. And then you interview a few. I said I was going to interview 3. I interviewed Mike and I was like, no, he's my guy. So he was the right guy, by the way. I swore to God I was going to interview 3. But he was great. I did have a coach before Mike, by the way.
Yeah.
What's his name? Chris?
Yes.
Chris was amazing. He was a super nice guy. He wasn't the coach for me. And that's okay. Sometimes we have to fire coaches. That's uncomfortable.
Professional coaches know that though, and it's always part of the conversation. First, middle, and last. Hey, by the way, might not be the coach for you, and I want to help you find.
Yeah, no, there's no hard feelings. We're friends on Facebook. He posts funny memes. Anyway, so that's the value now of Chris. We love Chris. So, but he wasn't a coach for me. So, as a conclusionary statement here, disproportionate investment in people, specifically admin support and coaches, will increase your business by at least 240%. By the way, the number is bigger than that. It's like 380%. But we had to say 240 because that was calendar year. Because I wanted to be able to prove it. If anybody asked, then like, where is this number coming from? I wanted to be able to pull up my KW and go, no, come here, jerk, look. I swear I did it. So if the money is what's stopping you, you don't need the money up front to make that hire. You don't. So if the money is stopping you, this is that's called an excuse. Stop. Okay. So if the money is stopping you, no. If skepticism is holding you back, you're just Thomas from 5 years ago, and that guy was broke. Okay, in so many ways. So, invalid excuse. If your reason not to do this is that you're just a control freak and you feel like you need to have control over the administration, the 50% of your business that doesn't make you any money. I just want you to imagine for a second if Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, was like, no one can stock a shelf or check people out better than I can. Where would Walmart be today? Closed, right? If the McDonald's brothers were just like, no one can flip a burger or serve food out a window like I can, where would McDonald's be? Closed, okay? If Gary Keller was just like, no one can sell a house the way that I can, well, no. Where would Keller Williams be? Well, Eddie kind of, well, never mind. It'd probably be closed. Probably be closed. So Gary Keller is very much alive, by the way, so we looked down on that one. There is no excuse not to increase your business by 240%. You should get started today, okay? Go get a transaction coordinator, okay? And when you can afford a coach, go get a coach. Because again, the purpose of business is to fund a perfect life. So if you're not inching anywhere near your perfect life, right? If you're not inching anywhere near a life by design, if you're not going anywhere near freedom, flexibility, and wealth after you've been in real estate, which is presumably why you got into an entrepreneurial venture with no regular pay, commission-based, and no health insurance and all that. Like, if you're not inching toward freedom, flexibility, and wealth, I don't know what you're doing, okay? If you're anything like me, you were suffering, okay? Stop suffering, make the first hire. It's a transaction coordinator. Any questions? There's no way I covered everything.
I have a comment.
Oh, please.
That you invited me up. Sam Walton.
Yeah.
He did get it in his private plane and fly to these stores and just show up. Well, I work for a company that we did the music in Walmart. And he actually came in and talked to me one day, just out of the blue. Nobody knew. So what my point is that you hire somebody, but you got to make sure they're doing their job too.
You have to inspect what you expect.
Can I share an
Yeah.
I forget, and I'm sure somebody knows. You were talking about how admin, does 50% of the work, but makes 5% of the money. And I thought about the 4 quadrants where you go from like employee manager on that side, that they earn 5% of the money.
Yeah.
And then the other side is, business owner and then investor.
It's exactly the same.
It
matches up.
Yeah, it really does.
It's
That's what
the cash quadrant.
Cash quadrant.
Do y'all know what we're talking about? I could draw it, but I'd probably mess it up.
Yeah, I would, and I
ESBI?
would too. I would too, but it just, I was never thinking of our own real estate businesses. Like, I was never putting them in those 4 quadrants, right? Like, on the left side, it's employee, like E. Employee, and maybe it's manager on the left side. And then on the right side, it would be owner, like business owner, and investor. There we go. What's S? I forget.
Self-employed.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is the cash quadrant. On the left-hand side, this is employees, okay? Just most of the world.
Yeah.
And this is self-employed people, right? This is real estate agents at companies that aren't Keller Williams. And I don't mean that in a stupid, funny way. I just mean like we teach people to be business owners. This is why over here. Most real estate agents are self-employed, right? 5% of, 5% of the wealth?
Yeah.
Is on this side, okay? And 95% of the wealth in the world is over here with business owners and investors.
However, there's 5% of the people on the right side, the amount of people on the right side, and 95% on the left.
So basically, 5% of people have 95% of the wealth. 5% of people are business owners and investors. The other 95% are employees or self-employed, and they only have 5% of the wealth, right? So what we're trying to get you from today is from here to here, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is the biggest difference between self-employed and being a business owner mindset, or is there something else to that?
I don't know about the biggest difference, but definitely a difference is mindset. I mean, what is the difference between being self-employed and a business owner? If I'm self-employed, right, that means that I
do 100% of the thing.
Yeah, I do 100% of the thing. I own my job. I own my job.
So like in real estate, as a real estate agent, we are our admin, and we're the janitor, and we're the sales force, and we're the, we're 100% of the things. We leverage that off, I was saying, via, and of course via our model, our administrative work. We fire ourselves to free up enough time to go generate more sales. We let the admin folk take that department from us.
We focus on our 20% and we let other people take the 80% off of our plate. Right. And just one more thing to plus onto that is one thing that we don't think about is like, yeah, you're leveraging and you're, building your business, all that. Think about all the people that didn't have a job doing something they loved, and now you have employees that you're paying a regular monthly paycheck to do something they absolutely love, and they whistle to work every day, right? You created opportunities. Business owners create opportunities. Self-employed people,
they do the work.
They just do the work, right? Blaine, you had a question.
Well, Brittany in the chat asked how can we access resources for TCs and where do we look for that?
Jesse has a great question, or a great answer to that.
Yeah, 2 resources, 2 files that I'm going to share by the end of the day. I found the first one. There's a course on KWU that you connect to via kwconnect.com that you all have access to. It's called the MREA Admin. It's part of the 24 topics. The MREA Admin course is essentially like our contract close course. In Ignite, it goes much deeper, and there's organizational charts and checklists and great resources. It's a great training thing for you and for the admin that you'll hand off your systems to. That and the 280 tasks that are involved in real estate, forget the name of the document, also from MREA. Resources, I'll share those too.
Yeah.
It lists out every single thing that needs to be done in every level of real estate.
Well, and then also
Who
just
does it?
local people who do it. Kimlin Tipton, right now she's Kimlin Richburg, does contract to close work. Kelly Collins, Sarah Love. So there's people here, like here. Who do it. I don't know if Jennifer Titterington still does it.
She does, yeah.
Okay, is her license still here?
Yes.
Okay, so Jennifer Titterington, there she goes. So there's 4 right there. So
Lots of folks.
yeah. Any other ahas or questions? Yes.
TC does have to be licensed, correct?
Yes. Yes,
TC
even
doesn't.
if they have no contact with your client, that's to protect you. Ultimately, it's your name on the contract. When you hire a TC, it's your name on the contract and your responsibility. But if you're letting anyone near it, that's your stuff, yes, they should be licensed. That's to protect you.
There's privacy stuff involved in that too. But
Yes.
but admin support, my Cyberbacker is obviously not licensed to sell real estate. My director of ops is not licensed to sell real estate. So admin support, different thing. Transaction coordinator, yeah, definitely.
We have to know, we as the agent have to completely understand via classes and working with our broker, what is our responsibility for our license when it comes to what admins can and can't do. That's our responsibility to know that, and I can provide some more resources on that too.
Do your TCs handle repair negotiations?
Yes. And if they don't, then they are not worth the money you're paying them. And I mean that in the nicest, sweetest possible way.
That would be a different level, like compliance to close, right? Like somebody just to handle the paperwork, that might be a decreased cost. Most TCs are customizable, right? So they might say, all right, I'll charge you $500 and I'm licensed, I'll do your repair negotiation. You have to do nothing. Or I'll charge you $350 and I won't have like client interaction. You have to do that part and I do the rest.
Yeah,
There's different
I can
levels.
tell you that for me, it would not be worth it to me if I handed them the contract and they just handed it back whenever there was time for repair negotiation.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I don't want to do.
it's yours to deal with. By the way, has successfully negotiated like 60 repair, and by the way, and it's not just working for me, she works for other, so she's probably doing like 200 repair negotiations a year. So who's probably better at that job? It's probably her. So people that are just like, I don't want this person negotiating on behalf. They're like, you don't want the person who's doing 200 repair negotiations a year negotiating on your behalf. You're an idiot. So that's just what's my idiot count up to on this class?
Oh, I wasn't keeping it, but I think we kept it under a dozen.
Oh, good. Yeah. I do have a
Under a
really.
dozen, which,
So do they also attend inspections or
God.
do you attend or just nobody attends those? Just the client?
Mhm.
Okay.
So that would be a really great like mastery point on make sure you're working with an inspection company who's not going to be inflammatory about.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you.
that's a preferred vendor moment, of course. That's a preferred vendor moment.
Okay.
So.
So if I understand you correctly, it
Yeah.
sounds like apart from the TC, you're gonna feel the pain points along the growth of your career, and that's what's going to determine when you need to hire Cyberbacker ISA.
Yeah, well, first thing, let's get 50% of your business going. Hire a TC. It costs you absolutely nothing unless you make money. It's
Right.
a tiny itty bitty fee. Once you've got the TC up and running and you're focusing on your 20%, enough business is going to grow to that point where you're ready to make that next hire, which is still really cheap compared to the GCI that you're running. And then once that, so you're always going to feel the stress. You're going to know. I knew. No one had to tell me. I was like, oh, it's time for the next hire. By the way, I'm in the process of hiring another admin on
Do
Friday.
most of them work in the way that you described as far as, it's at close, you pay them a flat fee? Because,
Only the TC, only the transaction.
well, right, no, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
as far as TCs go.
Yes, I don't know any transaction there that takes an upfront payment.
Well, I know one of them that works by the hour.
Oh, no, that's not the right way to do it.
Okay.
And that's a business model that I'm sure works, but, so here's the value in most TCs and doing it pay at close. Let's say the contract falls out Well, you didn't get paid. My TCs know that if I don't get paid, they don't. Right, and so it creates the same vested interest in getting the transaction closed. So you're not going to have people that are, if they're working by the hour, they don't care if that repair amendment gets negotiated. They're just like, no, well, didn't work out, pay up. That's not going to work for me.
Right.
So that's how I said that. Any other questions? Cool. Oh yeah. Cool.
So I'm in a weird kind of spot since we're all done with
You
mine, so I
are.
can make it about me. I had a really good first half of 2021,
Yeah.
and I've hit my non-stretch goal 6 months in, but since then it's crickets, and I'm really kind of struggling with lead gen at
Yeah.
the moment. I've called everybody in the database. I'm just wondering if you have any other good ideas as far as lead gen.
Is your database your only lead pillar?
I was doing some online stuff. I've kind of pulled out of that. Yeah, and some realtor and stuff like that. I've kind of pulled out of that because I really want to focus on spirit referral.
Yeah.
And it's great, but what I found is it's a little bit more like nerve wrenching because I don't know when that next referral is going to come through. You know, it's not like I have a system in place, dripping leads on me and stuff like that. And I kind of want to get back to that model. But I'm trying to find, you know, what the best options are.
So, okay, you how many people are in your database?
About 2,000.
Okay, so that's an awesome database. So 2,000 people in your database, and so do you have them labeled because there's two types of people, right? There's people you've met and people you haven't. So do you have your database labeled as people I've met, people I haven't met? Okay. So how many mets are in your database?
Probably about 600.
600. Okay. So 600, we know that those close an average of 12 to 2, right? So the ratio is 12 to 2. So if every 12 people that are in that 600, 2 will do it, rather 1 will do business with you, 1 will refer business to you, right? So do that math. That's a lot of business. So my guess is there's probably some business in your database that you're not extracting. We all know, families like, you know what, call them, I swear I did. I'm just like, okay, I'm just doing math. Just 12 to 2 is the conversion ratio. We've been trying to prove it wrong for 38 years and we haven't. So do you do something called the DTD2?
No.
Okay. The DTD2 is called the do the database 2. And do the database 2 is literally you call 2 letters of the alphabet. You don't have to call. You follow communication preferences. Call, Facebook message, text, FaceTime, whatever their preference is. You do that. And you do 2 letters in the alphabet per day. You start with like an A and W. You do B and E. There's a resource on page just so that you I would call through that list once per quarter. I would. I do call through that list twice per quarter, and 64% of my business comes from that database.
What's your question?
Once a quarter. Once a quarter. So, and it should only take you about 10 days to get through the whole alphabet. So, back through 2 weeks. So, I did mine in July, so I'll do it again in September. So, that is how you're going to extract that business out of your database. Now, as far as your other lead pillars, they should probably be free, given that. I mean, at 3 years in, I know whenever I was 3 years in, like I had a ton of success and I was totally miserable at the same time. I had a whole bunch of validity. I was like, I've done it before, I know how to do it, and I don't know how to make my money. So the free lead sources that I was using were FSBOs and expireds. That's what I was doing. By the way, I still like those ones. That's the other 20 whatever percent. 36. So
is that still in our market? Do you feel like that's a valuable lead gen source?
Absolutely.
Because it seems like whenever I've attempted that, what I run into is I've talked to a dozen real estate agents in the last 15 minutes and I want nothing to do with it.
A dozen is nothing. Usually they talk like 100.
Well, right. I'm just saying in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. So that is a uniqueness of approach problem, is what I found.
Sure.
So personally, I don't call anybody. And if you want to do business with me, don't call me. Don't call me. If you want to be friends with me, don't call me. If you're my mom, don't call me. I don't want to talk to you. I think that millennials are wrong about 95% of things. I think they're right about that one thing. Like if I don't want to talk to you until and unless it's convenient for me and in a method that I prefer. Right.
And it made it worse with FaceTiming everybody all the time.
Yeah. Well, now that's what the kids are doing. But they'll get on FaceTime and they won't show their face. It's very bizarre. Jessie was talking to her son on the phone the other day, and she was like, "You're not responding." He was like, "Oh, I'm nodding." And she was like, "Well, we're not on. I can't see you." Anyway, kids these days.
Question,
Go
sorry. What's your preferred method of communication when it comes to reaching out to all those people for the
they're on my VIP list, right? If I've met them and I've put them on my DTD2 list, I know what their communication preferences are. I know my mom prefers a call. I know that Howard prefers a text. I know that I'm going to contact Christopher on Facebook Messenger. I know because I know, and I can notate that in my CRM to see what their preferred communication
And
is.
if you don't know, because I usually send out, we have a newsletter that we send out. We send a newsletter, and if they call us, I know just call them in the future. Like they essentially train us on how they like to.
That's kind of where I am. My mom has like a huge database, but like half of it, I don't know.
Who they are. Just
crap about them,
start
so I'm
with
like trying
something.
to- okay.
Start with something, and then they'll let you know. They'll
Okay.
either respond to you in email or something. Like we have clients, we have their phone number, we have their emails, but they like to talk to us on Facebook Messenger. Like it's just
Okay.
because
I
that's
follow
easy for them.
preferences. That's where they're comfortable talking, so that's where I'm going to talk to them.
So as soon as they like reach back out, I know Kate.
Thomas, can I circle back to that?
Yeah.
What do you mean the difference of approach? You don't call them, what do you do?
I email them.
Okay.
I email them a video. I use Loom. I think BombBomb's a little cumbersome, but I do use Loom. LOOM.
Is it a personalized video?
Yes, every
Okay.
time. So
How much time do you invest in each video?
Depends. So it's about 10 minutes per video. I know what you're thinking. That's way too long.
No, it's not.
It's not. Especially whenever I'm able to hyper focus on just doing that all day long, and I don't have to do any of the administrative functions because that's taken care of. I can be in front of my client as long as I want to. That's what fuels me, and that's what gets me the most business, is being influential and being in front of my potential clients, my prospects, and explaining my unique value proposition. And so I do that 10 minutes per contact all day, every day, and that's what works for me.
No, I like that approach.
It's face to face, basically, except without having to be anywhere near their face.
Right, and they're non-threatened because they can turn it off anytime
Yeah,
they want.
that's right. They can pause whenever they want. And yet, whenever I go through in Loom and look at the percentage of the video that's watched, it's almost always 100%.
Okay, so I'm totally stealing your tactic here.
Okay, great. Hurry up.
Subject line, how do you grab their attention?
Oh, you want to master this? Yeah, she already knows. This is the best way to get your emails open. I don't care what you write after that. Put that in the subject line, they'll open it.
Really?
Yeah. Because it looks like they've already responded to it.
Sure.
They're just like, oh, this is something I've emailed them, they're responding to me. That's what it means, is a response.
People don't feel fooled whenever they get in there and they're like, I see what you did there. You don't care?
Is
I had no feedback on
Is
that.
it to clients or is it to
Clients.
No, I was talking like
Prospects,
FISBOs and,
Oh, yeah. We do that, and then we also put their address or their first name in the subject line.
Yeah, if you get that and the address is in the subject line, what are the odds they're gonna open it?
Especially if you're selling your house.
Probably gonna open it.
So I found a pretty cool tool for, it's an app for off-market properties. And is that the same way you go about that?
I use a program called the Multiple Listing Service,
Sure.
and I use Remine, full realty resource, both
I
in 7.
don't know Remine. I know what it is generally, but I don't know how to operate it effectively.
It's not a particularly useful program for most
I've
things,
heard.
but it does have a couple of nuggets that are semi-useful. The other programs we subscribe to, which are very expensive, by the way, are fallbacks in case Remine doesn't have the information we're looking for, which is the case, I would say, 80%.
The app that I ran across is actually geared towards hunting. And for any property in Texas, it accesses the tax records and will give you the name and contact information of any property.
How convenient.
Yes, the same thing is probably one of the things you're talking about, sure. But I've yet to find a property that didn't have the correct information. So, right. It's called Onyx Hunting or Onyx Hunt.
ONYX.
ONX. Yeah, ON capital X Hunt. And I had a pal that's an investor here at Louise, and I ran across this because he does a lot of business with just buying and selling raw land. In any case, if I wanted to approach someone in a neighborhood, or if I compiled a list and I just went down the road, you'd make a personal video for each one of them. and include what type of information?
Well, if these are not people that have demonstrated they're motivated, like being an expired listing or a FISBO or something, then I
Sure.
might not do a personal video. I might do a neighborhood specific video
Right.
or something like that, which I have been known to do. I still use Loom for that.
And found success with that model?
Yeah, well, that's how we do the digital door knock. That's how we farm. Some people farm with door knocking. I'm not gonna knock on your door. That's very basic.
Yeah, I don't wanna do that.
I'm not going to send you a postcard. That's very expensive.
Also don't want to do that.
Yeah, so I do digital door knock. That's what I do.
I'm brand spanking new, and what I have right now is time. Time is my
Yeah.
currency.
Yeah.
And so.
We have
10 minutes
20
for a
farm
video is
areas,
nothing.
so do that, and you can manage 20 farm areas when you're doing digital door knock.
How do you manage the incoming data? Does Link
I
handle
don't.
that for? I don't have one of those.
Get on it!
I'm working on it.
No, but I'm just being honest. That's
Sure.
I don't watch my email.
So I need to
inbox.
talk to him about this. Okay.
Can't wait till you get your first TC.
That's coming.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Who do you recommend as the first TC?
My TC is Kimlin. I love it. Kimlin, Richburg, or Tipton, whichever name.
Kinley, yes.
Sure.
I don't teach them here.
No, I don't think so. What I love about Kimlin is she has unlimited bandwidth. I've had 9 pendings with her before, and she's just like, oh yeah, I got it.
214 213 4055. And I'm gonna text her.
What's her, you don't have a last name?
Richburg.
Richburg?
Yes, BUR. Chris, is that your name?
Right. No, good.
Thank you, Chris. Doesn't matter. The point is, we were talking about free link sources and there's I think if you do the DTD2, that's going to extract the rest out of your database. You do need other free, so I would have at least 2 other pillars. All right, have you been working expires or FISBOs or anything like that?
Yeah, off and on, I was using Mojo as a dialer, but obviously not having a ton of success and consistency.
Yeah, what I find is that whenever you're going after people that a bunch of other people are also going after, it really is that uniqueness approach. And I don't think that I found the right way. I just think I found my way. And so it's about finding a way that you're comfortable with and that people respond well. So you can just beta test it. Like I'm gonna text some people, I'm gonna leave a voicemail for some. I started using slide broadcasts for a while. I would leave a voicemail like, "Hey, Tom Steve Williams calling about your property." And I would send that exact same voicemail out to like 100 people. Inevitably, I'd get 2 or 3 responses, which is the right at 50-1, which is a conversion ratio on not nets. So that's the right thing. So it's more of a shotgun approach, but that's what you need with not nets. So put them in your database, drip on them 36 times a year, and they'll probably turn into something. Call it 36 times. It's all a numbers game. Just how many more people are going to add to your database and what information can you offer them for time. You don't even have to, everyone's like, God, I gotta write a 36 touch. Like, no, you need to write 3 touches a month. You don't need to write a 36 touch. You need to write 3 touches a month. Okay. So if you drip on a database of 2,000 people 3 times a month, you're going to be really good. You'll have a choice. So, and you don't have to hire. Well, cool.
Thank you very much.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you for making the drive all the way up $24.99. Taking the left on Teasley. Oh my God.
It was very worth it.
Cool. Thank you.
Times I think we're gonna set it for Thursday afternoons. So if you'll respond back